Hello, everybody. My name's Rick McCutcheon, and welcome to PartnerTalks. Today, we have Martin Smit from Dynalogic. Martin, tell the folks who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Rick. My name is Martin, indeed. I'm a 52-year-old dad here in Holland, that's at the northern part of Holland, very close to the German border. And currently, I'm a partner development manager at Dynalogic, trying to build our partner channel.
Okay, excellent. So let's first talk a little bit about you, Martin. Let's talk about your journey in business applications. So how did you get to the seat you're in today?
Yeah, good question. Well, I started actually, I would say somewhere around 98, I would say, into the software industry at a US-based company called ADP, by the way. And I started as a product manager for a CRM solution. And basically that was my journey in working with IP, working with software, had different roles in there, and always was, on the edge of business and technology, trying to find solutions for real problems out there. And only in, I would say, 2018, it went to Microsoft business applications. Until then, I worked in many different business applications, but not necessarily Microsoft. But in 2018, I was responsible for an add-on on top of Microsoft CRM in the insurance industry. Totally different industry than where I'm in now. But then I learned to appreciate the power of the platform, to be honest. And I moved on into F&O, or finance and supply chain, as a solution manager. And quite recently, only 2 years ago, joined 9 Altitudes for building the new company called Dynalogic.
Okay, excellent. So let's talk a little bit about Dynalogic and, the products you offer and which biz apps applications you support.
Sure. Maybe taking it one step back, because I also introduced 9 Altitudes, right? 9 Altitudes has been there around, I would say, from the 2000-2001 area, being an important player at that moment in Microsoft Exapta, in the manufacturing industry. And while doing all those different projects with manufacturers, we decided that software should not only be available to our own projects, but also share that with others, Dynamics partners, right? So then we built Dynalogic, and within Dynalogic, we have, I would say, 2 types of solutions. Some of them are clearly very vertical, very focused on the pure manufacturing, and some of them, are more horizontal, but still also cater for the manufacturing industry. And let's say the core in the middle of it are some modules that we call them our advanced manufacturing modules for BC. Those advanced manufacturing solutions for BC, they try to bring depth to a great platform. So we think BC is a great platform, but we try to bring depth. We try to make it specific. Give you an example of that. Some of our manufacturing companies have a scenario which is called configure to order.
Mm-hmm.
Quite simple. As a customer, I want that product, but I want it a little bit personalized. I like that bike, but I want that special gear. I want that special saddle. I want those wheels, right? So I want to have the ability to have a variant of the original product. So we have built a solution called Item Configurator for BC. That is just one scenario. Another big part of our customers are companies that have another flow, which is called Engineer to Order. They don't make products for anybody. I would say they make them for a specific group of customers. And very often the customer is very heavily involved in designing it, making clear what they want. I would say the best example I can share with you, and it's not fake, it is the boat of our king. So that is a product that was engineered by a company, by a yacht builder. It was designed, it was calculated, there were revisions, and then they start to build, right? So what you then need is a connection between your engineering bill of material and your manufacturing bill of material, which you would have in your ERP, in this case being BC. So we've built that bridge between that product lifecycle management, designing tool, and the ERP. And very often those products are made in a project-based manufacturing model. It is not a standard manufacturing way of working. It's a project, it has a timeline, it has a budget up front, and hopefully you stay very close to that budget, right? And also to the timelines. But to manage that process, we have extended the standard functionality in BC with more project-based functionality. But those are some of the, I would say, more vertical solutions. But along the way, you also see that companies need good reporting. They need insight. They want to visualize. Hey, if you have a multi-million euro or dollar project, at a certain moment in time, you want to make sure, am I on budget? Not only from a time perspective, but also from a cost perspective, right? So we built a layer on top of it, using the power of Microsoft Power BI, using nowadays Microsoft Fabric to make sure all the data, even when it would be in different Dynamics instances, is very available to the project manager, the CFO, and so more. So we have built, I would say, hovering around those core products, we have built some supporting products, and maybe one to top of that is that we also created a document warehouse, which makes it super easy. Doesn't matter if you are in Teams, if you are in CRM, if you are in F&O, or you would be in BC, you have access to all those documents, and that, makes collaboration much more easier.
So Martin, let's talk a little bit about AI, because you're building quite a stack for manufacturing here. What are you doing at Dynalogic around AI?
Yeah, I would say this is core and fundamental to what we're doing actually, how we are in programs, together with some of our partners in also these red carpet programs, in which we are a little bit on the forefront of access to new technology. So we use AI in many ways. Base fundamental, always just making sure that we use it for our customers first, right? So what we have built and what we have been showing in the last edition of Directions, for example, was an agent to support the whole item configuration I was talking about before. Normally, when you have to make changes in those configurations, that can have a huge impact. You must think of so many things to consider when you make changes. We've built an agent that literally brings that work of days to a couple of hours. That is just one example how we have built agents there. One of the agents we're developing at this moment is related to one of our other project-oriented products, is if there's a disruption in your supply chain, and let's be honest, we face challenges in the supply chain a lot at this moment, that can influence the timeline of your projects. I think we agree on that. Then the question obviously is, what would be the best, let's say, mitigating action at this moment to make sure I stay into budget and I can still please my customer by keeping up those timelines I've promised. So we are building a supply chain agent that will help you in making the right decision at that moment because of what we've learned, what we've seen, and so on. That is one way, more the agentic layer. And the other way, obviously, is using a more natural language in making queries to, for example, the BI tool, including natural language, not only making statements, but using these kinds of tools. I hope that makes sense, Rick.
It makes sense to me, and it's good to see, Dynalogic as a partner really embrace it, because Microsoft's really asking us to be a frontier partner, right? Like to lead the charge, and it looks like you are. So, on PartnerTalks, most of our audience are Microsoft partners. So let's talk a little bit about Dynalogic and how you work with partners. I know you're European-based, but how do you work with partners in North America as well?
Yeah, well, at this moment, when we are working with partners, I would say the same is true for North America as it would be for Europe. The most important things is that we are quite, selective on the partners we work with. Not because we want to be we need partners that understand not only the Dynamics environment, but they should really, I would almost say, breed manufacturing. We have been in this business for a long time, And there are some great partners in North America that also are in the same space, right? So then you already share, I would say, the common language, you understand the processes, you understand what discrete manufacturing and why it is so fundamentally different to process manufacturing. So working together for us is a long-term commitment from both sides. We invest a lot in that partnership. We expect the same from our partners to be really dedicated to us. We think the only way a partnership works is that we're not considered to be an ISV to complete a portfolio. We should be the strategic partner. And we invest our time, our knowledge, our expertise to work to get towards credibility together, right? So, and the fact that we're in different time zones doesn't change a bit, because let's be honest, first line will be the partner. If there are issues we need to solve, we'll be there, right? So no problem.
Excellent, very good. So we first met a couple of years ago at a conference called DynamicsMinds. And we've got DynamicsMinds happening in just a few weeks in Slovenia. So let's talk a little bit about DynamicsMinds and why you think this conference is so important.
Yeah, there are well, I would say different reasons for it. We indeed started first to visit it, just to see why is everybody talking about it, right? Just have to feel it. Now we are there as a sponsor, and for good reasons. Not only do we think it brings down so many aspects of the Dynamics stack together, which is great, right? We can talk about Power Platform, we can talk F&O, we can talk about BC, which is with SCE, obviously, right? That is important. And I hope you agree with me, there's something special in the air, I would say. The atmosphere is very open. I think so, yes. At least I think so. It's very open. The people somehow are very approachable. Everybody is really sharing. I can really feel the community sense very strongly. It is a little bit less formal maybe than other events we can have. We'll be wearing our Star Wars costumes. So it will be a little bit special. No, I think the atmosphere together with what is brought there, the interaction between the people, I think it's just an amazing event, and we look very much forward.
Yeah, this will be my third DynamicsMinds.
Good.
And I've got to tell you, it's got a great energy.
Yeah.
And Directions is another conference people go to and go back to. But DynamicsMinds, I didn't go the first year, and everyone I talked to said, oh, you got to go. You got to get to this conference. And I think you're right. I think it's the atmosphere. I think it's the location. Being on the Adriatic Sea, right on the ocean. It's in between two beautiful hotels. You fly into Venice to get there. I mean, there's a lot of really neat things around it that I think put everybody in the right frame of mind. And, there's a lot of education. There's a lot of tracks. And, it's well attended by MVPs, well attended by Microsoft, and it's a good cross-section of all biz apps, both partners and end-user customers there. So it's just a great gathering.
Yeah, I think what I didn't even mention was the creative part of it. I think the way things are brought there are a little bit different, right? The whole branding, the whole way they do things, that also opens up people, I guess. So, no, I feel we're super happy to be there.
So, Martin, will Dynalogics be presenting anything at the conference?
Yes, well, we will have a booth there, so absolutely visit us there. I'll be together there with our director of Dynalogic, and we'll bring our CTO there. So we will be presenting. Let's say we have something special to share, because until now, and if you would go to Dynalogic, you would see that we have been promoting our apps for BC, but we are using actually DynamicsMinds to have the debut there, the premiere of our advanced manufacturing apps for F&O. So we will bring there first time, never before, we will do that there live. We will bring those apps we have made for F&O. So we're tapping into that potential, which it all started with for 9 altitudes, but we're bringing that to the beautiful city of Portorož.
Okay, I'm very excited this year, and we'll see you at the end of May in Portorož, Slovenia, for, one of the greatest shows on earth, we'll say.
Absolutely.